The acting Vice Chancellor is welcoming you all. Please stay, listen, and learn. You are all welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, the personality standing before us is no other than a distinguished legal scholar and Dean, Faculty of Law, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Oka, Professor Ogogoa Victoria Chinelo Ibeze.
My acting Vice Chancellor, Ma, other distinguished members of the High Table, and my revered professors, wherever you are seated, and the learned scholars, and of course, our children. It gives me great inspiration. Before now, I don't think anything like this will happen and you have the children seated. You know, well, not just seated, but properly seated. So I thank God that our efforts are yielding fruit. Straight to the topic of my keynote, which says, taking positive activities for the rights of the Nigerian child in the information age. Of infancy demands continual protection. Everything must be done for an imperfect being, that's the child, because we are still nurturing the child to be perfect, which as yet does nothing for itself, that's the child. The protection of the child has become more demanding in this our digital age. It is a global fear that we really need to protect our children. Yes, the information technology is good, but how beneficial is it to the children? This is what every adult must always bear in mind. That which must benefit the children should be our goal and the objectives of this summit. The objective of this summit includes, but not limited to it, to take actions that will ensure sustainability in the information age with reference to children, to ensure online safety for the children. This is very key because we have discovered that most parents are now comfortable giving their children either the computers or the tablets or what have you, to give them space to do other things, not knowing that you're actually destroying that child. You're making that child not to be serious with his or her education. You're making that child to, you know, to see what a child ought not to see. You're making that child to be informed wrongly, thinking you are doing your best. We have to note that, very important. To develop strategies for child-friendly information content, to address digital inequalities. And we see that if we can remember the difference between urban and rural. That, I think that's the best way to demonstrate this. We say we want our children to be properly informed on digital age. Yes, some of them at the urban areas are well informed, well guided, well protected, but what happens to those in the village? We have to take, you know, we have to finally foster collaborations between stakeholders, government, NGOs, private, and family members. Then I try to look at Nigeria's position and understanding in this digital age with reference to children. Then, of course, when you read my clarification of terms, you will understand more on, you know, where I focus my discourse in this keynote address. And of course, I try to see whether we are just jumping, but I try to look at the historical development of the rights of the child, which is very key to what we are doing today. We need to understand it, but let me go straight to, it has been from time immemorial, because if we take our cultural balance, in the home, the child is so special that everybody wants to cloud around the child, wants to partake, whether male or female. Okay? Yes, in the time past when I was in school, particularly primary and secondary, we had wonderful teachers who will always look after you. They don't need to know your parents. I I don't know whether any of you here experienced it. They will always look after you. They will always encourage you. And if you're a good student, they will not want you to derail from that. Maybe we still have some percentages of those teachers in our primary and secondary school, and maybe in the tertiary institutions. In all, let us take seriously the philosophy of nurturing our children in the best direction, albeit in the global digital age. May we not converse in this particular principle or project. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Thank you.
A brief paper presentation, and before I do that, it's very simple because the erudites, they have all spoken about it and spoken very well. When you listened to Prof who spoke before me, you would know that the task before me is already conducted, and it's just maybe for me to say to everything she has said. But I won't go further without recognizing my two colleagues that I'm here with, who are Dr. Paul Chine, the ICT manager for UNICEF, and Mr. Chimezie Ekwebele, our logistician. He's also here to ensure that everything go, as it should be in terms of the way we do business in UNICEF and with our partners. Colleagues, you are welcome. I would quickly go into the paper presentation as it is, but like I said, I would want to just go ahead to, I would just move on to maybe take an aspect of the law and of the rights of the child that we are x-raying today. The big theme for this summit, taking sustainable positive actions for Nigerian child in the information age, is a mouthful that we need to tease out, x-ray, review, and talk about. The basket of right for the child is enormous, but yet it's in the hands of what we call duty bearers who should help these children fulfill their rights. So in the sustainable development, we are talking about information age, how the child is able to survive, how the child is able to develop, get education, get good nutrition, and all the rights that the child is entitled to in this informative age. But here, this is an education setting, it's an education environment, and we won't just come today and not talk about the rights of the child to education in the information age. I am presenting a paper on behalf of my boss, who is also passionate about the rights of the child. That is why she works for UNICEF as the Chief of Field Office, UNICEF Enugu, and she's no other person but Mrs. Juliet Chiluwe, who is also attending to competing priorities. That is why she has sent me and the team to make sure that we come here also to answer the name of UNICEF, where it is called for child rights. And that is why we are here today and what we are doing right now. So we will title this paper, For Every Child, There is Right to Education. With the basic education and minimum quality of education that the child requires before 18 years. Whereas educating every child would mean investing in their future, focusing on new approaches to strengthen financing and making it more of a scientific and technological innovation is still a reality for today. That is why we key in so much into this summit theme of taking sustainable positive action for the Nigerian child in the what? in the what? Information age. Now, what is the work ahead? We have we've articulated three key things. As actors in the education, people who work night and day to deliver education, to ensure children are enrolled, they continue and finish their education, before the age of 18 in every possible way. We have articulated these 3 points, and we say that building partnerships to ignite favorable policies that expressly recognizes a right to basic and early education, childhood education, which guarantees all children their right. So I would like to stop here, and while we plan to meet again on this 4th, deliberating on other rights agenda, I would like to once again say a very big thank you from UNICEF. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Must be treated with equality, respect, and dignity. Not because they are future or the adults of tomorrow, but because they are human beings today. The 10 most important child rights are fundamental right to life and identity, family, education, development, food, shelter, leisure, protection from abuse and violence, a peaceful community, governmental assistance, and expression. I will continue to thank UNICEF because they have taken it upon themselves to make sure that children are protected. Education, which is very important to a child's life and future, has been made a reality and also conducive in Anambra State, because we are talking about what the government, how they are trying, to ensure that child's rights is assured, especially at the basic education level.
Thank you very much. Again, was the anchor of the UNICEF program in Anambra State. It gives me a lot of pleasure. In Nigeria, where awards have become so bastardized, people give awards to those who don't deserve awards. I think this is one award that is so eminently deserved by this woman here. Egypt, congratulations.
You wouldn't have, heard of me, and I wouldn't have had the ample opportunity to contribute to your welfare or well-being. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.